Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Esports Broadcasting Network, a sim racing media company. We are live from beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida for the Daytona 250 here in the Ghost Cup Series. I am joined today by my guest star, Zack Novak, eNASCAR Coke Series driver, and my co-commentator for the regular season here on the Ghost Cup Series, Scott Posnancy. Scott, how are we doing today?
That makes it so much better is Daytona. I cannot get enough of this track, and I can tell you I am not going to be able to get enough of this 100-lap race tonight.
Zach, thank you for joining us tonight. I know a lot of fans were pretty excited to have you with us here today. What are you prepared to see tonight?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm definitely prepared to see. At the start, I'd say a lot of single file racing. The way this package is, it's really hard to make moves on a consistent basis. So I'm sure you'll see a lot of these guys kind of try and get in a straight line and just kind of figure it out as the race progresses. But I think at the end of the race, we'll definitely see some hard racing and maybe a wreck at the line or so.
Yeah, we had some pretty exciting dual races. We saw DJ Daniel literally on coming off the final turn pull off the race-winning move. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go over, actually before we go over the race info, we have a national anthem for everybody. So let's go ahead and actually before the national anthem, we've also got an invocation, and we're going to go ahead to get the invocation in here first. That way Zack Woods, our one of our drivers here, has the opportunity to prepare himself for this race. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on down. Zack Woods, this is Angel, Scott, and Zack here in the ESBN broadcast booth. You got us?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, Zack, go ahead and lead us on to our invocation for today.
All right, let's pray together. Almighty God, I thank you for technology that exists like iRacing for us to come together under a shared passion of racing and meet new friends and be able to put on a good show for folks watching. And Lord, as we get ready for tonight's race, I just pray that our conversations tonight are fruitful and beneficial in your sight. And let us have a good race. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Zack. We appreciate it. Good luck tonight. Have fun, and we look forward to hearing from you at one point tonight.
All right, will do. Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was Zack Woods, and then we're going to go ahead and jump in, have our national anthem play. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Oh,
All right, we are live. We are green here for the Daytona 250 for the Ghost Cup Series live on the Esports Broadcasting Network. National Anthem ran a little longer than I expected there. Sorry about that, everybody. But here we are. We are live. DJ Daniel starting from the pole. He qualified first in the qualifying couple weeks back, and regardless, he won his dual race in the first duel last week. So here we are. We're live. Lap 1 of 100 about to get completed. Scott, what are you seeing so far here in the early going in the first lap or so?
Well, you're seeing a lot of these drivers start to try to work single file, get down to the inside. There are a few remnants still hanging out in that outside lane. It looks like about 4 cars right now. But this is a long race, and these drivers know that. So at this point, there's no sense in putting yourself in harm's way, trying to make a move that you don't want to, and really just kind of staying safe and making sure you're in the position at the end of the race.
Now, Zach, I asked you, we already see here a lap and a half in 2 separate packs. If you're going to be in 2 separate packs, maybe what is your choice, you think, in being maybe the safer spot? I know it's hard to determine a safe spot at Daytona, but...
It's really difficult, especially with this package. Like I mentioned, a few minutes ago, it's really difficult to pass, make ground up. So if you're not starting up front, then falling back in that second pack and trying to be, towards the front of that is probably your best bet. Or being at the very, very end of this first pack, or of course, leading the race. So it just kind of depends on where you started and where you can slot in. But it seems like, what I mentioned earlier, everyone's trying to just get single file right now and log some laps.
I know, Scott, you spoke briefly with some of the guys at Deep Racing earlier before this race started. Did they give you an idea as to what we're looking like for fuel mileage tonight?
Yeah, so I stopped in the Deep Racing team chat a little bit ago before the race kicked off and just wanted to throw some feelers out there and see really, too, what this new scan of Daytona International Speedway was going to be about. Some of our viewers may not know this, but this is a brand new scan that iRacing just completed, a whole new rendering of the track. It is a super speedway, so while not much has changed, it is a surface that many guys may not be used to. That said, these guys did tell me about 25 laps of fuel is what they're looking at as far as a pit window. Some were able to push it as high as about 28, but that is not a number they were willing to flirt with as far as the race went. That said, tire strategy kind of remains the same as any super speedway. You take them when you need them, but you're going to see about every 25 laps these guys start to duck on into pit road for fuel.
All right, I hear that we see them coming off turn 4. Single file here at the moment. I think a lot of these drivers really just hoping to make it to the end of this one. But I don't know about you, but usually when this happens, it means that the end of it, everybody's still alive and everybody has a chance to win this race.
Of course, I agree 100%. This is one of those races where, as you're seeing those guys start to work out single file, 2 or 3 packs starting to break up, it's going to be more exciting come the end of the race as you're going to have more people still vying for those top positions, not crashing out early and making those mistakes early on.
So, Zach, I know you've had quite a few races here at Daytona. Is Daytona a lucky track for you or not so much?
Well, I've won a eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series race here, but other than that, not too lucky. So, as we see the caution flag come out, it's very, very, very positional based. It's not as much luck based as you would probably think, honestly. There's a lot of skill involved in, racing at a track like this. It's just a different skill than you typically see on, a 1.5 mile track, or a short track. So, you'll see people consistently be out front the whole race here tonight. And that's going to be because they're picking their spots right and they're, not falling back and making sure that they keep themselves in the right spot.
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, and Scott, we've seen it plenty of times where you think, oh yeah, well I can just save my car out here out back, and then lo and behold, somehow you end up in a wreck that had nothing to do with you anyways.
Absolutely, Angel. Daytona and Talladega, those super speedways are one of those tracks where sometimes there is as much luck that goes into it as there is skill. And there is no reason to discredit super speedway racing on terms of skill. There is a whole different level, kind of like Zach alluded to, of patience and just timing that goes into racing at a super speedway that you don't necessarily have to tap into if you're on a shorter track like a mile and a half.
All right, so here we are. I haven't been able to figure out where this first caution came from. I've got nothing coming up on my side to display what all is happening, so we'll have to figure that out, why that caution came out. We see pole sitter DJ Daniel coming down pit lane. We were going to go ahead and bring him in as our original pole sitter, but instead, against his will probably, league owner Chris Hupka, we're going to go ahead and bring him on in and let him give a brief description of the league as a whole. I know we did this a little bit last week in the duels, but for those of you joining us for the first time this week, get an opportunity to listen to the big man in charge. Chris, this is Angel, Scott, and Zach in the ESBN broadcast booth. You got us?
I got you.
All right, Chris. I told you I was going to do it, and go ahead and do it for you early and get it over with. Go ahead, give everybody, the explanation of your league, what we're looking forward to here over the next couple of months, and maybe what do you see? What is the plan here? What do you think can work out for you here overall in the league as a whole?
Well, hopefully we can put on some good racing week in and week out. We got a great group of guys. Man, I've been hosting some practice races in the off season, and it's been fun. We're all looking forward to the season start. Appreciate Zack coming in here and being a guest. He's always welcome. But man, we're all excited to get this started.
All right, Chris. I appreciate it. While we have you here, still, do you happen to let us know what happened with that caution?
I didn't see what happened. I think it happened behind me.
Alrighty, well, we'll have to try to figure that out then. Thank you, Chris, for coming on in, and let me go ahead and send you back. You're on not fast, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, perfect.
Thank you.
I put my investigator cap on, and I've discovered what was the cause of that wreck.
Okay, perfect.
It was on lap 5 entering turn 3 with Nick Biddy going around. There looked like a stack up probably about 10 cars in front of him, and I don't think they really noticed it, and he went to check up, and it was just kind of a stack up there too, and he got right hooked in the wall, and car's destroyed. So looks like he's got it all fixed though, so I'm assuming there's a fast repair.
Yes, they do get one fast repair for tonight's race.
So seems like he's already used that, so he's kind of in a rough spot for the rest of the race, but nonetheless still got a chance here.
Well, and that's the nice thing about having that fast repair. It's some people think of it as too much of a handicap, but at the same time, it's also nice to know that, this wasn't my fault, and I'd like to have a redo. We are just out here having fun here. So right now, Brock and Trey Whitehead currently first and second, the number 31 and 33 Chevrolet. So then we have right behind him Alfred Denny and Nathan Estep, two drivers that Scott and I, of course, are very familiar with, being teammates in other leagues. So, however, I know Trey and Brock, and they're pretty good drivers. They almost swept the duels. So we've got quite the stack of drivers in this race, and a lot of drivers, further back, I've seen John Garrett win multiple races, super speedway-wise, just chilling and relaxing. John Garrett's a name you won't hear much until the very end of the race, and that's in a very, very good way. Getting ready to go green flag racing once again. Pace car pulls down pit lane. We are green once again here. Completing lap 8. We have lap 9 now of 100. Trey and Brock Whitehead. We'll have to see what teamwork maybe they do to get this one started. And then you see Nathan Estep all over the back bumper of the number 33 of Trey Whitehead.
Yeah, certainly don't count out those two deep racing boys sitting in that second row, Alfred Denny and Nathan Estep. They are, in my professional opinion, as good as it comes when it comes to aggressiveness on super speedway racing, and they are not going to be comfortable sitting in that second row long. And here they go, making that move to the outside, trying to get unconventional, something we haven't seen so far this race.
Well, And before this race started today, Nathan was putting up on the group chat on Discord, hey, who's going to run the outside with me? And it seems like nobody's willing to do it. Even his teammate is going to go jump down, let him in. But looks like early on, everybody trying to stick to the bottom or find their way back down to the bottom of the racetrack.
You can't blame these guys for trying to take that gamble. The thing with Super Speedway Racing is you never know what's going to work until you give it a shot. I certainly believe, as we're seeing, too early to take that shot in the outside lane, and these drivers obviously agree with that. But don't think that outside lane is going to be quiet the whole night. You're going to start to see that materialize later on as this goes.
Zach, I guess question for you here is, what for you do you know? Obviously, you race with the best of the best. How do you make the outside lane work here for some of us more amateurs?
Man, it's tough. It's really, really tough. The easiest way for me to explain it is tandem drafting. You can't really do it much just because of the way the package is on these cars, but you kind of got to just try and link up with someone and get square on their back bumper and just shove them for a whole straightaway and get as far away from anyone else as possible so they can't side draft you back. So we even saw that on the restart a little bit coming off turn 2. It looked like Trey Whitehead was getting pushed from behind by, I believe, Nathan Estep, and they moved up, all the way to the outside wall to get a big run, and I think they both would have went to the lead if Trey didn't, go down to block the bottom and pick up his brother.
Oh, looks like we got contact behind here. See, I saw some smoke, but looks like everybody's still alive. All right, I couldn't quite tell exactly who about wrecked there, but again, everybody is still alive. We got quite a few names. What's really nice about this league and the way that looks like no. Okay, so the way that Chris Hupka has set up this league is where everybody there is a website, and everybody was encouraged to put up a bio of themselves and a quick little picture. So anybody that is watching get a chance to head over to their website. Get to know each one of these drivers. Something that we're going to try to focus on doing. Maybe not today as much. Maybe only get one of these in. But each week we're going to try to get at least 2 of these drivers through their bios and just kind of read them over for everybody so that you get an idea of who you're cheering for week in and week out. And speaking of, if you are in our Facebook or YouTube chats, please make sure you let us know who you're rooting for, and we will be sure to get to them at one point or another during tonight's race. So, Scott, right here, we are 13 or on lap 13. You see a little bit more of this outside lane trying to make something work. I mean, if you're further back here, are you trying to stay back here? Do you want to try to catch that front pack again before you have to make green flag stops? What do you think is going to make a difference here?
In my opinion, this is one of those where if I'm sitting back in a different pack than maybe that front pack, or I'm in a different lane than maybe that preferred lane at this moment, I'm just kind of hanging out. You've still got about 10 laps before you're going to see these drivers have to start to pull in. Some may do it earlier. I believe most will not. But there's a lot of fluctuation that comes to pit road here, because if you miss your mark, you get caught speeding, you overshoot your pit stall. Those are things that can set you back and move you from that front pack into that back pack, or put you in that back pack up to that front pack. So at this rate, I think it's still too early to start to go into quote-unquote panic mode, as it is to just kind of relax. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint, and make sure you aren't the one to make a mistake.
Yeah, that's pretty good insight. I appreciate that, Scott. That's a great idea to go with. And then Zach, I guess I ask you as a racer, because for me, as much as I love to try to sit back and wait, I also want to be up front leading the race. So how do you find that balance right there? I mean, Trey Whitehead doesn't have to worry about it. He's leading this race as they're looking to put looks like it's not James Jones. He's got some pretty heavy contact in front of him. Oh, it looks like this is the 82 of Mike Corvo. He is actually brothers of one of the boss men here at the Esports Broadcasting Network, Cliff, who's also racing in tonight's race.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I think if you're not in this lead pack, you try your absolute very best to get to the front of the second pack. I really like the strategy that Robert Lawrence and Brock Salvati just had, where they use that outside lane and they really work together to get to the front of this second pack. And now, if they can start making some lap time, which they're slowly chipping away at that lead pack. If they can start making some lap time, they'll get there and they'll be the first cars of that second pack. To be up there, and they'll at least have a fighting chance with pit stops coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars here in this second pack. The first 7 cars, it's about a 7-car breakaway. And then after that, I mean, we are all the way down to, let's see, it's DJ there and Christian. So from 8th on to 33rd, got about 25 cars that were single file. See a couple of them trying to peek out here and there, but yeah, that's a lot of cars. They're definitely gonna be able to make up some time that way. This time around, they were actually 0.8 of a second faster, so they've got maybe about 4 or 5 laps until they catch them. But like Zack said, they are pulling him.
Zack, to tap into your professional knowledge a little bit more, as we do start to count down these laps to these potential green flag pit stops, as a driver, what are you trying to do in this situation? Are you reading the cars around you? Is your goal just to bleed it dry? Are you trying to maybe short pit and see if you can make up some position and hope that caution plays into your favor?
It really depends on what race I'm racing in. If it's a professional, Coca-Cola Series race, our plan is kind of mapped out, prior to the race, just so we don't have to do as much of that thinking process during it, right? So, but if we're doing a more casual race, with a few friends, or even if I'm just doing it by myself, I'm trying to find friends. I want to find people to pit with, so I'm on the mic a lot, or typing, or whatever I can do to talk to people and figure out who I can pit with. And if I can't figure out who I can pit with, I just run it dry and hope people pit with me. But yeah, it's very stressful leading up to pit stops. I'd say the last 5 laps, you can have people pull off whenever. You have people that sometimes try and pit from that second lane, and it causes havoc. Luckily, I don't think we'll see too many of that here with it being single filed out like it is. But yeah, it's definitely very, very stressful leading up to pit stops.
Zack, I think you tapped on one thing that Angel and I have not brought up yet tonight, and that's the idea of friends. You cannot have enough friends in a super speedway race like this.
Absolutely. There is one thing I will say. You definitely cannot have enough friends, but it definitely does make it more difficult when you do have too many. I'd say the ideal car count for a green flag pit stop at Daytona is anywhere from 5 to 8. Not too many, not too little, because when you get above 8, it gets really difficult lining up pit stops. On entry to pit road as well, it's really easy to overshoot it and make contact. And the less cars there is, the easier it is to not hit cars. So you definitely can't have enough friends, but it does make it a little easier the less cars you do have.
Yeah, and right now it looks like these guys are still, slowly but surely reeling them in. I mean, they're still about the same distance, haven't gained too much. Looking at maybe 6 to 8 of a second they have gained here. We've completed 19 laps, now about to complete lap 20, as you see Trey Whitehead coming off of turn 4. And so going over just a brief overview as well. Our league sponsor is the Fort Worth Screen Printing Company. This is a company that one of our drivers here, we'll jump on over to him right now, John Garrett, as previously mentioned before, is one of the gentlemen over at FWSP. They actually sponsor some of the some NASCARs in real life. If anybody's recognized Bailey Curry in Rick Ware Racing, they've had Fort Worth Screen Printing on their car quite a few different times. So it's a company that's willing to sponsor not just esports here for NASCAR, but the real life, and always got to be grateful for sponsors like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the crossover ability. with sponsors from the real life side of things to, over in the sim. I've been very lucky to have supporters Sunoco, with me, and they're definitely a big time sponsor in the real life, and they definitely are huge supporters of the sim racing as well. So there's a lot of sponsors like that cross over, and it's always cool to see.
Yeah, Sunoco, it's a pretty good looking car you got there. I do like that Sunoco one quite a bit. Interesting tidbit for John Garrett as well while we're on the subject of him. We'll bring him in at one point in today's race during a caution break so we can talk about it. John is actually getting quite the opportunity. We got a couple guys coming down pit road making that first hit. We'll come back to that story in just a moment. You got Dylan McDonald, Ricky Gonzalez, Nicholas Panico. I'm hoping, Nicholas, I said your name right. And we got Wes Fuller and then Mark Gonzalez all hitting pit road. So you got a pack of about 5 cars here. Pretty solid group. Not a lot of cars, but also it's not like it's only 2 or 3 of you.
And notice as well, they were very in unison on entry to pit road. Not a lot of mistakes. Nobody hit each other or anything of that sort. So it looked like Wes Fuller missed his pit box, but besides that, seems like everybody got through there clean.
One benefit you do have coming down pit road at a super speedway like Daytona, though, is you can be a little bit less concerned about spinning those tires, either sliding them entering your pit stall or spinning them coming out, as the tire wear doesn't play as much of a factor here as it would on, say, a shorter track or an intermediate 1.5 miles.
Yeah, now it's question is, it looks like all 5 of those were Fords. Odds are, I'm going to assume they're teammates. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Discord here for just a moment. I don't see them in a chat, so I'm going to assume that they are probably maybe in their own chat, in their own Discord. But yeah, we got a bunch of Fords coming down pit lane. You're going to assume when you have manufacturers like that, they're probably, some of these teams like to stick to the same manufacturer. Some do, some don't. So right now, it looks like Trey Whitehead, Brock Whitehead, currently your leaders. Kyle Spees in that number 36 Chevrolet, also here running in the 3rd position. Let me double check Kyle. No, Kyle's not on that team. So then you have TJ Robinson 4th, Kyle Gardner in 5th, Alfred Denny in 6th. He's got Nathan Estep on his back bumper, looking like Nate's ready to move to the front immediately, as they're always going to peek to figure something out. And then the second pack, here they are. They're closing it in. Oh, we got a caution.
I believe that caution's for a stage caution.
Ah.
I was honestly not familiar with that, so that's a cool little thing that they got going on in this league. Pay out stage points for running well in that stage 1, but I love that strategy. Now it makes much more sense to me. The strategy for the Gonzalez drivers and Dylan McDonald, all 3 of those guys coming down pit road before that stage break, and they're gonna get some awesome track position here and cycle out most likely to the lead.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. I did honestly, for anybody watching, it sounds like I didn't do my homework for this series. I know everything just about it since its inception when Chris Hupko first decided to get through with it. My mind is just not here today, it feels like. Yes, so stage break here, and you're right. Great decision here. Wes Fuller, I do believe went a lap down, so he's not going to be able to benefit from this so much. He is the first car 1 lap down, if I'm not mistaken, so he should be able to get his lead lap here. All right, let's see. We're going to go ahead and we're going to give everybody an opportunity to hit pit lane first and then come back off before we bring anybody in to talk about it. We don't want to bother anybody in case they are talking strategy with their teammates. So while that happens, we're actually going to go ahead and go over the original race info that we didn't quite get a chance to do at the start of this one. So this is Daytona International Speedway, of course, for the Ghost 250. It is a warm 80 degrees in Daytona for this race. For once, the sim is warmer than actual Florida. We are at 60 degrees right now. It's pretty nice. I can't complain at 60 degrees. I think this is the first couple days we haven't been in the 80s for like 3 weeks now, so we get to finally have what's supposed to be winter.
One thing I want to point out there, Angel, since you brought up the weather, I was talking to some of these drivers as they were going through practice pre-race, And they did say they were struggling with being able to get right up in that bumper and bump draft for a longer period of time because of the heat. Before their engine started to overheat, they were struggling to get it to go further than they usually are expecting to.
Yeah, you have track tempo 125 as well. But also look at this wind, 14 miles per hour. Might not seem like much, but that's just enough to upset the car depending on where that wind is hitting and maybe coming on or off of a turn. So that's going to be an interesting decision to see as well. How does that affect the cars as they start to get, double file and even, 3 wide? All right, so for those of you guys watching on YouTube, we got Ethan McCombs rooting on Patrick McQuaid. So let me go ahead and bring up. Then we have one of the other ones, Chaotic Creek, rooting on Threat Level Midnight Motorsports as well. As the season goes on, we'll start remembering exactly who's on where. That's one thing I don't quite have memorized, who's on which teams. We have somebody rooting on BMS, which I believe will be Blue Motorsports. And then you have Dana rooting on the number 22. That is Mike Sobanowski. I think I finally have figured out how to say his name correctly. And then on our Facebook side, we've had a couple conversations here with some of these drivers. David Laforno, thank you. Greg Wood is the race control for this race. So let's all also thank Greg for taking out of his time. And we know, Scott, me and you, we know Greg's a competitor and he likes to win. So for him to sit back and do race control, got to be very appreciative of that as well.
Absolutely. Greg's a great guy. Done a lot of racing with him in my time here on iRacing, and I'll be honest with you, there's no one I trust more being in that race control booth than Greg.
Yeah, he does a great job of that. Let's see, we got Karen written on the 00. I do believe, let's see, 00 is Vernon Reese. And then on our, let's see what else we got here. We always like to get in with the fans here. David is got a couple things here. Always run the back early, let them shake out the... Yeah, well, David, the problem is that nobody is getting shook out at the start of this race, and we're already a third through, so it seems like we're kind of flying through here. But he is rooting on for Patrick McQuaid as well. If you are in the chat here, for everybody, it's a very relaxed league, very nice to go in between thing. And here comes Noah Owens. Noah actually races on the Friday night league that Helpka used to run. We ran together in that one as well. He is the guy that runs Blue Motorsports, and he's rooting on for the 22, the 34, the 6, and the 96. So here we go. We're third through this race. I'm going to assume that the next stage break will also be at lap 50. So you can probably make it from here to then. Zack, are you after seeing what some of these other guys did? I think they came back down pit road to top off anyways. So do you think it's a good strategy move to maybe try to pit right before the stage break, or hold off?
I would think so. As we go green right here, I would think so. But clearly they know something I don't, being inside the race car, coming back down to top off. So maybe they couldn't make it to this stage break. I would figure you could, but maybe not. Like I said, they probably know better than I do, being in the race car. So we'll just have to see. It definitely would be the right idea if you can to set up, with track position starting that final stage, and kind of give up a little or a few of those stage points.
Yeah, in my opinion, you got to go for the stage point. I mean, it's Daytona. If it's another track, I get maybe, doing some crazy strategy. But it's Daytona. I mean, I know we got a lot of drivers out here, but I think you got to go for as many points as you possibly can in case you do get caught up in one of these late race wrecks, so that it doesn't feel like you wasted your time. Because nothing's worse than that, feeling like, getting taken out towards the end of the race and you get a bad finish and you feel like, man, I just wasted, an hour of my life.
That is very true.
So I did just double check for you, Angel. The end of stage 2 will come at the conclusion of lap 50. So that said, you brought up that good point. A lot of these drivers, if not all of them, can make it to the end of that stage. So you have to consider how many of these drivers, especially those that are maybe in that 8 through 15 range, sitting right now, are going to try to make that a little bit more aggressive push to try to get some of those stage points, that better finish going into that final stage.
We already see slowly but surely people just diving to the bottom, trying to just get themselves clear of being on that outside. That, you know, again, if you have enough cars, the outside is honestly better, because I feel like there's less off throttle time. I feel like you don't have to check up as much when you're on the outside. There's more racetrack that you're running on, so you're typically going a little bit faster. So you see John Garrett peeking to the outside, maybe the 29. 29's got a little bit of damage on the back end of the car. He's got Jeffrey Vickery. He's going to try picking up John Garrett now as they go down the back stretches. They're going falling to DJ Daniel, your pole sitter. So this is going to be interesting, really, and then especially with the final stage where you can basically split it in half, but it's going to be the same thing. How far can you run it, maybe, and spend less time on pit road?
I think one strategy that's going to start to play into effect as well is, when do you start considering tires in all this? Daytona is not one of those tracks where you really have to pit for tires, but keeping that same set on over the course of 100 laps may not be something with these track temps that these drivers are going to want to do, especially when you start considering how this race may end potential green-white checkered finishes.
Man, it's like Al got shoved to the outside, and he's just fallen all the way back to 17th as his teammate Nathan Estep up in 4th. So a little crazy situation going on there as we're here 31 laps, now about to hit 32 laps into this race. So Scott, I'll ask you first, and then Zach, I'll ask you the same question. You know, seeing how kind of relaxed this race is, do we feel like this is how the race will finish? I mean, I know we're gonna go, you know, it'll intensify towards the end, and we're gonna have some intense battling, but I think drivers are taking it kind of, you know, relaxed right now. Does this mean we're gonna have a big wreck at the end of this one? I mean, I know it's Daytona, you assume so, but what, if any, indication would you maybe assume that we could keep this a clean race?
Well, I'm not going to go out and say that there's guaranteed to be, you know, the big one on the last lap like you traditionally see in Daytona races. I do think these drivers are going to get more aggressive, and I do think the cautions are going to start coming as this race goes on. And you see drivers, even if you look at what's going on in the race right now, they're trying to make that outside lane work. And once they can get that side-by-side working, what's the next step from there? Trying to get that third lane to work. And as we know, Daytona is not one of those tracks you can sustainably run 3 lanes comfortably. But when you start getting down to 10 to go, 5 to go, and you're forced to put yourself in those situations to make those pressure moves, you're going to start seeing those drivers shoot up one more lane and try to go 3 wide. And I think that's where those complications are going to start to come in as this race winds down.
Yeah, I agree with Scott. And then to add on to all of that, you know, with there being stage breaks that we weren't, you know, sure about, you know, a little bit ago, it makes much more sense why a lot of the field is kind of riding and trying to just, you know, because they know that the caution is going to come out on lap 50, so they're all just kind of trying to make it there and make sure their car's clean, and then it's go time. You just split the race in half, and you know, as long as you have a clean car, you got a shot, you know, when that stage 2 caution comes out. So I like the strategy from a majority of the field here. You know, just kind of, like I said, just make it there and have a car to race with for the last 50 laps.
I agree 100%. And one last thing to add is not many drivers have had to use that fast repair yet. And if you can, you know, keep that, you know, bullet in the chamber until later on in the race, it can really spark your confidence a little bit. I'm one of those people in Super Speedway races where if I know I have a fast repair to play with, I'm going to start being more aggressive early, knowing that my consequences are obviously softened if I do, you know, make that unfortunate mistake.
Yeah, it's always nice to have those points in your back pocket. I mean, I would like to be up front. I don't know. I have so much bad luck here. May as well at least be up front at some part of this races.
Angel, so let me... Oh, go ahead, Zach.
I was just going to say, I absolutely agree. You know, you definitely want to be up front if you can, but at the same time, you know, pushing it too much to try and get up there probably isn't the smartest. Like I said, when you know a caution's coming out, so I like that a lot of these guys are just, you know, kind of biding their time and seeing how the race plays out.
So, Angel, if you don't mind me asking, I know that Daytona International Speedway kind of is a place that is a soft spot in your heart. In your opinion, as someone who is kind of a frequent visitor of this beautiful facility that I am very soon one day to visit myself, what is the lore about a place like this?
Zach, have you? I'm just a quick question. Have you been to Daytona International Speedway?
I have not, unfortunately.
So, and Scott, I know you've been to a couple of big football games. When you arrive there, it's you don't even have to enter the track. Just being next to it, you feel. I mean, when they say you feel the history, you feel. Sometimes you're like, I don't know, that's kind of dumb. When you get to Daytona and you stand out in front of this racetrack, or you're crossing the bridge over International Speedway Boulevard, it's life-changing. You just feel like, oh my God, so much has happened here. You're right across the street from NASCAR's headquarters where it all started. I mean, it's everything about the history really does make sense. And then the stands, it's so hard to tell here from iRacing, but my goodness, these things tower over you. They're so dang tall. If you're going on I-95, obviously everybody knows I-95, the big interstate across the East Coast here. You're driving on it, and you can still see the track very easily from where you're at. And this is a heightened part of, I-95, where it's like going over another, road. So everything about it, it's massive, it's there, and everybody knows this is, again, this is a great American race for a reason. The Super Bowl stock car racing, it doesn't get that name lightly. It's I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. It really is. But, and again, you have so many fans here. What, 140,000 people I think this place fits? No, 110,000 people I think this place fits now. And when it's sold out like it has been for some years, except for last year and the year before, or last year because of Corona, of course, but there's just so many people there, and it's like, wow, every bit, every race that you have seen, and when I mean race, I mean actual like skin tone race. Different people from all over the world are there, and it is such a cool experience. And I don't care how many times I've gone, it is like I'm a little kid again, going each and every time. This will be my 16th Daytona 500 that I get to go to, and I feel like every single time I'm just as ecstatic, if not more ecstatic, than I was for the last one.
Yeah, I certainly can understand that like energy feeling around it. Being from Wisconsin, obviously having visited places like Lambeau Field or Wrigley Field in Chicago, you kind of get that feeling where as you get closer, just being around it, you almost feel surrounded by like the ghosts of yesteryear, and really what those sports respectively are built off of. And I fortunately am able to come down to Daytona come August, and I really cannot wait to experience that myself. It's been a long time coming, and it's honestly like a #1 bucket list thing to be able to check off.
David in our Facebook chat said the best stands in racing, and honestly, ever since they redid, they had this full, $400 million upgrade to Daytona when it came to the stands and it's a fan experience. I mean, everything that happens before the Daytona 500 outside of the racetrack is an experience that you could fit all in one day on its own, and then you still get to go watch the Daytona 500 afterwards. It is insane, the whole setup. They had flight simulators there from the Air Force.
That sounds awesome.
It really is. It was awesome. I wasn't very good at it, but it was pretty awesome.
Now, I will say, although I've never been lucky enough to go to a Daytona 500 yet, I do plan on going to one very soon. With that said, I did get the opportunity to go to Talladega for the fall playoff race this year. And man, what an experience that was. Kind of similar to what you were saying about just the energy feel that you get. You definitely get that at Talladega. The track's massive. You can't quite see it from as far away as you could with Daytona, like you were talking about. But you pull up to the track, and it just seems like it's bigger than the Empire State Building. It's just huge, and it seems super tall, like it's touching the moon or something, and I'm that's probably one of the best experiences I've ever had attending a race. And then Bristol, man, I gotta say, Bristol, going to Bristol, that is like the experience or the energy of Talladega, like on steroids. It's just something about it. I've never really been a huge fan of Talladega personally. Obviously I'm a huge fan of NASCAR, right? So I love any track in NASCAR, but some tracks I love more than others. I've grown a very, very deep love, I guess, for Bristol. So that kind of was like, again, that energy on steroids for me. But yeah, you know, it just kind of depends on the track and the history. But you know, you go to those very historic racetracks, and you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel that crazy just sensation of just like, wow, you know, I'm here.
Absolutely, and I can agree with that in the sense of being from Wisconsin and going to the Cup race at Road America last year and kind of mixing that old meets new. You know, that's a track that NASCAR, the Cup Series at least, hadn't been at since the 50s. You know, and Tim Flock wins the lone race there. So now you kind of get this new era of Cup Series racing going to one of the more historical road, you know, courses in the United States. And yeah, just like that mixture of that past meeting present, and on top of that, having it over 4th of July weekend, it was just a perfect combination.
Yeah, there's been, you know, and I mean, so I've been Daytona, of course, you know, and I've also been to Darlington for the Southern 500, and it's kind of the same thing on technically in a smaller scale, only because actually, quick side note, something TJ Roberts did, I don't know what, but according to our live timing file, he hit a top speed of 447 miles per hour. So aside from that little glitch, oh, look at this. We got some battle happening here with about 5.5 laps left in this stage. You see Nathan Estep went up with TJ Roberts and left him out to hang. Oh boy, that was
That's the classic crossover move right there.
That's one of those where if you're Nathan later on in the race, you hope that TJ does not remember that.
Oh yeah, if he's behind you later in this race, you are staring in your mirror. You are never taking eyes off your mirror to make sure he can't, you know, repay that favor.
I don't mean to throw some bad news on Estep, but yes, TJ Roberts will remember that. I know that personally. So,
well, Angel, you and I both know Nathan Estep very well, and you alluded to it earlier. There is nothing he hates more than not being at the front of a pack at a super speedway.
Yeah, that's very true. He's I mean, he doesn't like to be, you know, again, he's a competitor like the rest of us. He doesn't want to be not in the front of the pack anywhere, but super speedways are his love. He's excited for it. And we were talking to him before this race. He was really, really excited for this race. And I got to say, it looks like the speeds they're carrying are pretty good. I mean, we're hitting top speeds, 205 miles per hour. I feel like it's been a little bit faster than they have been as of late. Am I wrong on that, or?
No, I think one thing that's worth noting, too, is just how clean they've kept it. I mean, obviously this is a race, and we've talked about not wanting to push it too early and trying to save those cautions and that aggressiveness for later on in the race. But even with that, you know, there's always that iRacing effect of racing around people you may not be familiar with, especially in a new league. And, you know, the idea of the internet connection and that virtual, you know, those types of things that you just can't account for. And these drivers have just been really mindful of each other and have kept it clean, and it's been really impressive to watch.
I don't mean to go back over to what we were talking about before, but we did get one of our guys here, David, in our Facebook chat. Yes, Facebook chat. Thank you for being as active as you have been, David. He said, watching Air Force One circle the track at Daytona some years ago and land at the airport in the backstretch. I don't know why I didn't even think to mention that. It's got to be one of the greatest things I've ever experienced in my life. I don't care what your political views are. Seeing Air Force One fly over Daytona for the Daytona 500 is one of the most badass things I think I will ever see in my lifetime.
There's nothing more American for the Great American Race than Air Force One flying over Daytona International Speedway.
Oh goodness! And then seeing the presidential limo on track drive past you with all the NASCARs behind it. Oh my goodness! It was. I gotta say, I really loved it.
Gotta give you like chills or something, you know.
It does. It's you're sitting there, it's like, wow. It's like the leader of the free world just flew over me and is gonna not only ride in a limo in front of me, but also is going to grand marshal this race. How it's just amazing. Oh, we're wrecking! That's Brock Salvanti. We've got Patrick McQuaid involved in this one as well. Right here, 2 laps to go before the stage break.
a lot of those cars who were running up front as they were coming down the backstretch to take the white flag. Looks like that outside lane maybe just got a little bit too overzealous, trying to get by those leaders, grab a few extra positions, and it looks like they're just gonna bite the bullet trying to push that aggressiveness.
So we're going to jump on here. We're going to see the 97 pulls up with a 77. The 77, he just caught the right rear of that 97. And I just think it's the run he carried. I don't know exactly what the situation was there, but heavy contact for him. Heavy contact for TJ Roberts. And I think Kyle Spees also took a pretty good lick in that one.
Man, and that is just heartbreaking to see as you're coming to the white flag in the stage. You've kept it clean this long, and you were running up front and just having to kind of change your entire race based off of this. Oh, what a camera view inside the 36, as you can just see that car spinning in front of you down the track, and just nothing you can do.
Actually, that could have been a lot worse than it was, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
No, the cockpit, everybody, and Scott, you're going to learn this here broadcasting with me. The cockpit view is my favorite view, and we will do it multiple times during the race.
Zach, let me ask you, if you don't mind, when you see situations like that with the extensive racing knowledge you have, where all of a sudden a car's just right in front of you, I mean, is it as simple as you think it is, where you just basically close your eyes and just let it happen when you know there's nothing you can do?
Well, it's funny. Most of the time, I just pray for netcode. To be honest with you, with us being on, a software, as iRacing is. You can have stuff like that with netcode and lag. So honestly, when you're coming up to a car head on just like that, you kind of just pray that they're having a connection issue, or the sim just doesn't register it, and you kind of just lag through there. Most of the time that doesn't really happen, but that's pretty much what I'm thinking at that point.
It looks like someone lost it going down pit road, ended up spinning into the infield grass from the outside lane. I don't know if either of you two saw that as well. I couldn't tell who that was.
Let's see here. Oh, he didn't lose it. It was a little bit of
He
help.
was spun.
I was about to say, I was like, as soon as I saw DJ Daniel, I'm like, well, DJ doesn't make mistakes like that. And it looks like this is, let me see if I can jump into a different view where this actually makes sense. Oh, the 38, that was the 38 of Dylan McDonald. Just DJ coming, or DJ's there. Maybe he just didn't realize. Because you know how it is. Sometimes you can go right through a car, and sometimes you don't.
Absolutely. I can hear Greg, our race control right now, lecturing these guys about going double file down the pit lane and why NASCAR and other sport entities don't allow that. And that is exactly why.
Yeah.
It looked like DJ was actually trying to go to the left to pass someone that was going slower down pit road. Wally Babb, excuse me, was going slower than the pit road speed limit, so he went to go to his inside to pass him because he was going so slow. And right as he did that, Wally drove down to go into his pit box, and that's why he was driving down the left side. So just very, very unfortunate right there.
Timing is everything, and it really did affect him negatively. Timing-wise, Alfred Denny decided he wanted no tires. He was going to top it off, fuel only on this stop, and he is going to pull out here, and he's going to be your race leader. So Alfred was dropping back a little bit, and here he is now in the lead. Trey Whitehead is still up there. I'm telling you, the Whiteheads are doing pretty darn good racing at the moment, keeping pretty good pace.
I think one thing that's worth noting, especially as we inch closer to this restart when we get there, is seeing those Whiteheads lined up behind each other and see if they might force that issue on the outside, or if they're just going to move down and get in line at the beginning of this third stage.
And those of you watching, Anthony Zirkle, I didn't even think to ask you how to say your name, Anthony. My apologies, and I spoke with you earlier. In the number 28, he is not one of the regular drivers here today. He's filling in for Charles Whitehead. So we got another Whitehead in the group, wishing Charles the best. He broke some fingers earlier today, and
oh no,
had to sit out the race. So I do say appreciate everybody in the league Chris Hupka said, "Hey guys, are we okay with him getting getting covered for today's race?" You know, some people don't like that, but it was pretty much everybody said, "Yeah, we're all for it." All right, we're getting ready to go green here. Pace car comes down pit lane. We are back racing green. Alfred Denny's going to restart here in the first position. He's got Trey Whitehead on his outside. Al didn't get to a big jump. Oh, we're wrecking. I think we're wrecking here on the. Oh my God!
Oh wow!
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
They're still wrecking.
Wow. All right, let's go back to this.
Don't even know where to begin.
I don't. Let's see, Billy Rickett. Let me pull up him here. Okay. Where does this all start? Oh, it looks like this is the one. Actually, this should be the number 13 of Billy Rickett. Man, he was just trying to get in line and mistimed it, and he hooked the. No, that's the third. No, I'm sorry, that is the 13. The one of David Modestball.
It almost looks, Angel, as if he maybe spun the tires, or maybe was out of gear, maybe maybe down in first gear on accident, and just shot right down to the inside. I mean, that's a very peculiar movement.
Yep. Well, that caused the big one, and the big one is an understatement. I mean, right here, I've already got 4 or 5 cars. The worst part is everybody's going up to speed, and just nothing you can do.
If you go a little bit further, you can see some of these guys still wrecking right in that frame on the right into that inside pit wall. Just a completely unforgiving wreck at the beginning of this stage.
Let's see here. Oh, that's not the view that we're going to need. Oh, yeah. You got a couple guys still. Oh, that's Chris Hupka's in the wall. DJ Daniel slid. I don't know if he got any damage right there. That's the netcode you're talking about there that you want, where you go right through somebody. Wow. So quite the accident, and here we are, 54 laps now into this race, completing lap 55. I don't have anybody jumping into our infield care center. Zach, we got an interesting thing that we're trying out here for the first time on the esports broadcasting network, where if we got a couple drivers involved in a big one and maybe they're stuck on pit lane for a few minutes with some required repairs, they're welcome to join into the broadcast and kind of talk over the wreck with us. So it gives us another insight as to maybe what they felt. And again, maybe not something typical, because it's hard to know what drivers are going to say. But because I know most of these drivers, I think I can feel comfortable, and I've spoken with them about, keeping language to a minimum. But nobody's jumping in, so I think everybody's still alive.
Either that or they don't want to talk to you.
That's another option too.
Yeah, that's a great addition though to the broadcast. We've actually been trying that out in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, and it's it's always good to have like insight. You know what I mean? As annoyed as some of the drivers may be, or as annoying as it is to get interviewed right after a wreck, chances are you're frustrated. It still is. It's a great addition to the broadcast. So, hopefully we do get a few guys come in here. Hopefully, it's not done maliciously, I guess you could say. But hopefully, if guys do get wrecked out, unfortunately, they'll come talk to us and give us some insight.
Yeah, I think that's it's good to hear that it's not, it's multiple people giving this a shot, which means I think if enough people came up with this great idea to do it here, I think it's going to work out overall. So right now I think it looks like the lights are off on the pace car. Let me jump on board here. Yeah, lights are off in this pace car, so we're getting ready to go green. It looks like a little bit of a mix-up. There's not a lot of cars caught up with the field right now.
Well, I think there's a lot of people on pit road still who are trying to sort out really just what happened, and you see them kind of still shuffling off. And this is one of those situations where you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place on, do you just use the fast repair, or do you try to wait it out and know that there might be something like that later on in the race as well?
Yeah, I guess Zach, having you in here, that's a good question. Is there like what's the threshold when you say, you know what, I just got to use my fast repair at this point? Or I mean, I'll be honest, I don't remember if you guys have fast repairs in the Coke series, but I mean in general, if you are racing in a league with a fast repair, what's that threshold?
Yeah, so first off, we do not have fast repairs in the Coke series.
So, yeah.
But I do have a lot of experience racing in leagues with fast repairs, and I'd say, typically at a track like Daytona, as long as you don't have damage to the nose of your car or anything affecting your power output, as we call it, engine damage. If you don't have anything like that or anything on the doors right at the numbers that would affect your aero, typically you just try and fix it all and save your fast repair, which chances are, if you don't have any damage to those parts of the car, you're probably not going to have anything more than maybe a minute, if that. So it kind of just depends. I'd say you will do pretty much anything in your power to save it until the end of the race, especially at a track like this.
Now that their guaranteed cautions are over, we are going to go green here. It will be lap 58. We'll have completed 57 laps. Only 43 left to go, so we're more than halfway through this. We've gone through pretty quickly. Of course, we had all these guys trying to keep it calm, but it seems like now the second half of the race, we'll have to see what happens. I don't think that this last caution really is an indication of what is to come. I think that was just a crazy freak incident that happened out of nowhere there.
I agree, Angel, and I'm curious to see which of these drivers that are back in the further end of that pack. Because I can tell you, for me, if I was stuck in the back of that pack, I would be unhinged right now trying to get to the front. I'm one of those people where, like you, I want to be out front. I want to be as close to the front as I can be, even if I'm not leading. And at this point in the race, I'm trying to get there as fast as possible, even though there are 40 laps to go. So I'm curious to see how that kind of balances out between the guys who are going to sit back and wait until those 10, 15 laps, and those that are going to try to go now.
Let's see. So far at the front of the field, pretty much familiar faces between Alfred Denny, Trey, and Barack Whitehead. Robert Lawrence has found his way up. Kyle Spees looks like the car's still pretty good. He's up here in the 5th spot right now. Chris Wheeler is up 25 spots from his starting position, but right now our biggest mover of the race currently is the number 62 of Chris Reese. All right, we're getting ready to go green. Have at it here, Scott.
All right, and as you see, Alfred Denny getting ready to, and he will lead that field to the green. You got the Whitehead brothers both next to him and behind him. Not many people ducking into that inside lane quite yet. A couple going in right there, but it looks like that outside lane is going to hold a little bit of momentum going into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, look at Robert Lawrence all over the back bumper there. Trey Whitehead pushing him to the front. He's got to hope that when Trey drops down, it's got enough room for Robert, and I think Trey's going to wait until Robert's clear before he drops down as a kind of a courtesy of, hey, thanks for giving me the lead here. Oh, well, never mind. I was going to say,
I think he's going to try, but just Alfred Denny in that inside lane just being resilient and not letting both of those guys drop in front of him.
All right, we're getting ready, coming down to 42 laps to go. Zach, in this situation, coming down to the end of the race, do you prefer to be the guy in the lead trying to throw the blocks, or do you feel like you're more successful trying to make the big moves at the end to win the race?
Typically, on the older package, probably about a year and a half ago at this point, or in the Xfinity Series cars or the Truck Series trucks, you'd want to be the guy second coming off turn 4. But in this current package that we have in these cars, I'd say being the leader is probably where you'd want to be. The only thing is the guy in second can kind of outsmart you a little bit and fall off your bumper and just absolutely destroy your momentum, which we may see that here coming to the end. I don't know. Depends on how the race is playing out. But if anyone listening is in this race, which not a good idea to listen to the stream and race, but if you are, there's a little tidbit for you.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think if they're, I'm sure there's couple of them watching, or at least listening to it in the background anyways. But yeah, I think right now, and you see a bunch of damaged race cars back here, and I'm going to assume a lot of these guys probably haven't used their fast repairs, including this number 99 of Wally Babb. And I got to say, there are just some fantastic paint schemes. And look at this number 55 for Nicholas. I can't remember. Scott, was it you that sent me what exactly this was?
It was not, but that is such a beautiful paint scheme. I really want to talk about that for a second.
Zach, does this paint scheme look familiar to you? Like this design right here?
It looks like a cup, but
You said a cup?
man, yeah.
It looks like a '90s Ford Escort type look.
Well, actually, Mr. Zach, you are correct. It is actually a design of an old paper cup that I don't know why everybody knows it, but we all know it.
Were those solo cups back from like the 90s or
Yes, I
early
do believe
2000s?
so. Yes.
Was that Solo that made those?
I think it was Solo. Yeah, I think it was one of like
Okay.
their affordable like paper cup brands.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure, so I wasn't gonna say it and be wrong.
Last week
So I
in the
figured I'd
duels, I saw that. I was like, man, I love that. Where is that from? I know it's got to be from somewhere. And then somebody had sent me the picture of it, exactly what it was. I'm like, man, I can't believe that. Like, such a random thing, but I love the paint.
It's crazy because, like you just said, like everybody knows about that, but nobody really knows where it's from. Or, I mean, I'm sure most people do, but you know what I mean. Like, nobody.
I didn't.
Well, yeah, but like everyone sees that and they instantly know, like, they've seen that before, but not everyone knows where it's from or, who made it. Like I said, I was questioning if Solo was the one who made it. So, but it's a really nice design, very simple but very sleek.
Yeah,
Angel, I want to cast my vote for paint scheme of the year already.
Paint scheme of the year already. Oh, he didn't waste any time, Scott. All right, well, is it for the 55?
It is. It is January 12th, and my ballot is in.
All right. Well, at the very least, Nicholas, we're gonna at least award you the ESBN Paint of the Race Award at the very least. So, but a pretty nice way to go for the Daytona 250. As you see more drivers sitting back here, and actually, hold up? Did I see in the background? Did they have a? I think if I'm not mistaken, here in iRacing, in certain views of the backstretch, you can see a plane landing. Am I mistaken on that one?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
You
okay.
can indeed see a plane landing. It was funny because I was actually talking probably, as caution comes out once again, I believe that's the 4th caution of the race.
This is not it. Sorry. That's the old one.
I was talking earlier as a plane was landing, and I was really tempted to mention the plane was landing, but I didn't.
Oh, is this? That looks like is that Kevin Gibney?
I don't think it is. It might be. That would be a very Gibney thing to do.
Oh yes, no. Gibney got. He looks like he had a little contact from behind. It looks like the number 13 caught him in the wrong spot. Oh, I can't tell exactly what happened there. It looks like we're having.
Looks like that's that net code.
And it looks like right at the moment, I think it looks like the 13 got to his back bumper. Let's go ahead and jump to the 13 here. Jump to his cockpit view. No, okay, so it's not gonna let me do it then. Yeah, I think he had some connection issues at that moment in time, so it's not gonna come up for us. But it looks like maybe just the 13 got into the 60. What are you giving me today? 63. That's not his normal number. I was sorry about that, everybody. So yeah, it looks like he just got into the wrong side of him coming off the turn, and I think that's probably gonna end Gibney's day. I'm not sure he's got much left of that race car. No, he's still out here. Never mind. Oh, he used his fast repair there.
I think it's noted, since we're sitting here under caution waiting, you guys are talking about the airplane landing on the backstretch. Another fun iRacing kind of Easter egg. I don't know if either of you two gentlemen knew this, but Steve Myers and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are actually scanned into every track on iRacing now as well.
I was aware of that, actually. Not until recently, though, but I did see something about that.
Yeah, I think I've heard something about it as well. I think, what is it? As you see Alfred Denny, a couple guys coming down pit lane here. We'll probably have about 30 laps to go. Not a bad choice because, it looks like Al maybe either missed his pit box or decided otherwise. With this many laps, you come back and top off right before the green flag. I think with a couple of cautions, you might be able to make it to the end.
Yeah, I agree, Angel. I was thinking the same thing. At this point, you've got about 35 laps left. These drivers were saying you could get 25 laps comfortably, 28 if you were lucky. But if you throw some cautions in there, that might be enough to put you in a good position at the end.
I like this strategy very much. But going back, yeah, I think I know, and a lot of them, they're in like a little iRacing booth. It almost looks like it's a food one or a ticket exchange. Is where they are scanned in, if I'm not mistaken, in a few of the tracks. I know for a fact it's North Wilkesboro they are.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool. I love these little Easter eggs that you get to find out. And Zach. I question. What do you think about the LA Coliseum track? What's your insight on that? What do you think about that?
I think it's awesome. I love the fact that NASCAR is expanding out to the West Coast a little bit more. My personal opinion is that I believe it should have been the All-Star race, and kind of line up the schedule with Sonoma, or another track out on the West Coast. But just assuming Sonoma, since it's more of a summer race that they do every year, just to kind of help logistically with the teams, so they don't have to go to LA, then come back, and then go to Daytona for the 500. So. That's my only gripe about it, but personally, I love the idea behind it. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's great for NASCAR as a company, and it's great for, I believe, the Coliseum as well. Just to get probably a majority of new fans that have maybe never been to the Coliseum before to go there and experience that event.
I wish I wish I could go.
Oh, I know. Zach, to add to your point, one thing that I read somewhere on Twitter, I don't remember who specifically shared it. It was a verified account. But I guess NASCAR ran a poll for people who bought tickets to the Clash at the Coliseum. And it came back that roughly 70% of ticket buyers, that was their first NASCAR event they'll be attending. So it sounds like mission accomplished on trying to expand the sport. And being that week before the Super Bowl, I think it's only going to help feed into that and give it that publicity.
I was just about to mention that, Scott. And I think while I do agree with you saving money for the teams, Zach, I think doing it the week before the Super Bowl, when the Super Bowl is in LA, I think it does make a lot of sense.
That is true.
Trying to get those new fans, and I'd say, Scott, you're right. It's exactly what you said. 70%. That's a big number. That Coliseum holds a lot of people for that too. I think, isn't it? God, they're over 50,000-60,000 that fits there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think one thing worth noting is with the Coliseum being in LA where it is, I mean, if you live in LA, your really only options for going to a race are going to Fontana or traveling. So it's something that's really right in the heart of one of the biggest cities in the United States.
All right. We have the pace cars down pit lane. We are getting ready to go green flag racing once again. We're completing lap 67, which means we've got 32 laps to go. 33 laps to go. Sorry about that, if I knew how to do my math correctly. Trey and Barack Whitehead, of course, no surprise there. They're going to work together as teammates. They're going to let Barack slide right in front of Trey. You see these two drivers up front the entire time, but here comes Kyle Speeds right behind. Robert Lawrence, we saw the aggression out of him earlier to push Trey to the lead. We got Kyle Gardner there in 5th. Zach Woods making his way up to 6th in that, I believe, this week his, let's see what his sponsor was this week. He's got the Christian iRacers sponsor this week, as well as the Hupka Real Estate Group. That is Chris Hupka's own personal company. So he's sponsoring a couple of cars in this race. It looks like we got a couple cars back here trying to make their moves now. I think, not that he has to get super aggressive, but coming down to 30 laps to go with maybe only one more pits cycle to make, I think now's the time to start slowly making your way up through the field. What do you think here, Zach?
Well, I before I answer your question, I want to point out I love this strategy by anyone that came and topped off under that caution right there. And for the simple reason of you don't even need cautions to benefit from this. You can come down pit road and take a splash and go. Probably would need maybe 3, maybe 5 gallons of gas and no tires. Or you could even take 2 tires and make up a ton of time on these guys that are going to have to fill it full. So I love the strategy. But to answer your question, those guys that did pull that strategy, I'd say the smartest thing for them is to just try and stay intact with that lead pack and not be too aggressive and lose it. And then anyone that isn't on that strategy, just try and make up as much track position as you possibly can, before pit stops, because all the guys that just topped off are going to be making all that track position back after the pit stops.
And
Zach, that's a great insight that you just threw out there, that these guys that did not come to pit road, they're going to be looking to come within probably the next 5 laps. So at this rate, yeah, those guys that came in and topped off already, it's go time at this point.
well, and adding to that, not just the fact that they're gonna have to take less time on pit lane, they're also not leading this group. So like Brock Whitehead's gonna be using even more fuel out leading this group. Trey was leading for quite a while as well in that last run. So both of these drivers would have used more fuel, and it's 15 laps technically between their pit stops, but throwing in some caution laps. So about 10 laps, I'd say, but 10 laps is a lot of fuel that you can save. All right, here we go. We got 30 laps to go. What we're going to do, at least one time during each of our broadcasts here, and Scott, so you know, we are going to go through a quick rundown of the field. So we'll start off with the leaders that we've mentioned already. This way we get at least everybody mentioned on the broadcast at one point. These drivers, they do part of their league fees goes towards putting these broadcasts on. So we got to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to be heard, of course. So we'll jump on over here. All right, so we're going to start off here with Brock Whitehead. And also another great thing, thank you to Chris, the league owner. He really pushed for every driver to make sure they had at least a picture or something set up with their SDK today. So Brock Whitehead, your leader from Cleburne, Texas. I hope I said that correctly. Trey also from Cleburne, Texas. I guess shouldn't be too surprising. Kyle Spees is in third from Illinois. We have Robert Lawrence from Casson, Minnesota. I believe MN is Minnesota. Yeah, I should know my geography. Kyle Gardner from Erie, Pennsylvania. Zach Woods from Winfield, Pennsylvania as well. And of course, saying special thanks to Christian iRacers and the Hubco Real Estate Group. Chris Reese, currently your ESBN biggest mover of the race. From Watts, I don't know where that is. He said, I don't know what to put here. No, really, I like finishing 19th out of 7 cars. All right, Chris, I love it.
Love the confidence.
Yes, but hey, looking pretty good. It's a good-looking race. I gotta say, all these race cars are just fantastic-looking paint schemes. I can't find a dull one between these guys here.
I love the number font on that one, giving me Brennan Gaughan vibes.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Brendan Gaughan. It's a very nice look to it there. Maybe Brendan Gaughan throwback paint scheme later on this year. Vernon Reese, I'm going to assume family. Yes, same hometown. You got Chris Wheeler in the number 9 from Burlington, North Carolina, up 22 spots from his starting position. Daniel Miglin is going to be in 10th from Hoboken, New Jersey. And Scott, I will let you take the next 10.
All right, perfect. Next, we've got Jeffrey Vickery coming out of Boston, Massachusetts in the 21. John Garrett in the 66 out of Tyler, Texas. Make sure to check him out, John T. Garrett on Twitch. My close friend Nathan Eastep, straight out of Buffalo, New York. DJ Daniel from Bassett, Virginia. Wants to give a shout out to his father, saying hi, Dad, in the 96.
Oh, that's nice.
Ron Gartner in the 39. No information to display, unfortunately, on him. Next up, Joe David. Again, no information to display.
Well, I could tell you, Joe. He's from Tampa, and he's a big UCF fan. I will at least say that,
Oh.
just because like I said, he's my new favorite driver now. He's a Floridian and a UCF fan. All right, next one.
All right, Dylan McDonald, again, no information, out in the 38 Ford Mustang. Alfred Denny, close friend of mine from my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the number 2 Blackwater Suds Ford Mustang.
Man, what are we doing, Al? We got to talk to Al about upping his thing. All right, next one.
Matthew Augusti in the 29 Chevrolet. Nicholas Pinico in the 55 Ford, running back in it looks like a second pack, rounding out in
just
that
about.
beautiful solo cup scheme.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and Zach, I will let you take the next 10 here.
All right, we got Mike Sabanovsky.
Yep,
I apologize if
there
I
you go.
pronounced that wrong, but I
You
think
got
I
it.
got that right. Out of Youngstown, Ohio, in the number 22 Ford Mustang. TJ Roberts, driving for Get You Some Motorsports, out of Kaufman, Texas, in the number 11 Chevrolet. Jonathan Leach, also in a Chevrolet, number 86, out of, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm going to take a guess and say Shreveport, Louisiana.
That's what I would have said. And we're gonna get with Jonathan
Shreveport.
as well. Jonathan is one of the owners here for the Esports Broadcasting Network. As you see, quite a few drivers making their way down pit lane here. So we're gonna have to get with Jonathan to make sure he updates his SDK file here, because he's the boss man. I don't know why we're missing it. Jonathan, all love. We appreciate everything you do for us. Getting to see him race is pretty awesome. All right, we'll go jump to here. I know our position's a little bit off here, but I'll finish this off. Mark Gonzalez in the number 24. Let's see, James Jones, one of my close friends from Tucson, Arizona. We call him the coach. He is a PE teacher and a coach of various high school sports. So it's a miracle he's actually out here able to race. Patrick McQuaid in number 77 from Nelsonville, Ohio. Christian Roos from how do you say it? Sioux City, Iowa? Sioux City. There you go. Sorry about that. Let's see. I know we spoke about
From the Midwest, we are very in tune with the some of the Native American names that go into the naming of cities in this area. So
I always say that, but here in where I was raised is Kissimmee. It's Osceola County and the Seminole County. So all the counties here are raised at are
oh
named
yeah,
after
you guys
that
down
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you guys down in Florida got the Native American names going on as well.
Yep. Let's see. We did Ricky Gonzalez. He is in number 48 Ford Mustang. Cole Martin from Groveport, Ohio. Travis Noble from Hazard, Kentucky. Raced 4 cylinders on dirt tracks at his local racetrack, Mountain Motorsport Park in Lissum, Kentucky. I couldn't say that. I'm sorry.
Oh, you got
Travis.
one going through the grass right
That's
now. The 77
Patrick
going to
McQuaid.
come back up.
Yeah, not sure exactly what all happened there. Looks like a couple cars kind of weaving around here. Wes Fuller, David Modespaw from Montoursville, Pennsylvania. We spoke with Trey, Wally Babb in the number 99 from Rocky Face, Billy Rickett, Anthony Zirkle from Bookville, Ohio. Again, out here for his good friend Charles Whitehead, who we're missing today. Kevin Gibney Jr. I do believe he is parked it for the... Oh, no, here he is. Now he's showing. From Revere, Massachusetts. Nick Biddy from Dawsonville, Georgia. Look at that. We got a Dawsonville man here. Why isn't he in the number 9?
That's a good question.
I feel like we should make an exception for that. Michael Corvo, he is brothers of Cliff, one of our boss men here as well, from Sturbridge, Massachusetts. Chris Hupka, not enjoying a best night here for himself, from Laredo, Texas. Cliff, as we previously mentioned, I do believe he might be done for the day. And Brock Salvati, he's also done for the day from Enumclaw, Washington.
Your guess is as best as mine, man.
I don't know what.
Or as good as mine, I believe.
I don't know what we got in that one. So, all right. So, it's... Going to the field doesn't usually feel like it takes this long, but I forget we got 41 drivers that came into today's race. So, leader Kyle Gardner, Zach Woods, Vernon Reese, Chris Reese, and Ron Gardner. So, we got a couple of brothers, and then Zach Woods, the outlier. Oh, wait, who was sideways there?
The 39.
Oh, Ron Gardner did not get onto pit lane very well. We'll have to see.
Looks
what
like
exactly...
he came in too hot and just lost it.
He should be good. I think if he does that, he might not end up speeding on pit lane by doing that. All right, so right now, John Garrett is your leader. Teammate Nathan Estep is in second right behind. John has not pit. Actually, he's going to move out of the way. He might have to pit here soon. He hasn't pit since lap 54. Then you have all the drivers behind him, Nathan Estep. And here goes the number 83 of Joe David. Man, coming in alone. This is really going to hurt him. Oh, he's going to lock him up. Oh, he's going slow enough. It's showing 50 miles per hour here. He should be fine.
I will say I'm not sure. I don't want to, sound aggressive with this, but I'm not too sure on the call right here by Nathan Estep. I think he was set up perfectly, absolutely perfectly. He was the first car of anyone that pit under that caution, and he's stayed out here, which you would think is the right call. Just run it dry, but there's not as many cars to draft with. They only have a 6-car group roughly, versus the massive pack that pit about, I'd say probably 5 laps ago now. They have about 20 cars in that group, so they're absolutely flying compared to these guys. And DJ Daniel made up a ton of time. He went from about 14th on track. He's now currently 15th, and about 11 cars still left to pit. So, great strategy call by him. He's right back in this race.
It shouldn't be surprising at all. I know you guys, DJ Daniel is a new name to you, but to me it's a familiar name. Putting the butt whooping on me quite a few times in another league we ran together. So I'm not surprised to see this strategy work out for him. It typically does. And I told you, Scott, and I told Nate before this started, I think DJ is going to be somebody to really battle for a championship by the end of this year. And I'm excited to see guys like Nathan and Al, other guys here. We got Kyle Gardner's pretty good. I mean, all these guys are easily capable of doing so. So it excites me to see what they're going to have to do. Is you see John Garrett is made his way down pit lane here as well. So, but you're right, Nathan running in front of this pack, I mean, kind of surprising unless he thinks he's going to be fine by leading this pack and using up this fuel. But Scott, you and I know Nate, he's always got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Nate leading, and I'm looking at Alfred Denny sitting in third place right behind him, and I promise you those two are synced up on whatever they're doing. I'm honestly surprised they didn't come in with John Garrett and maybe try to use that teammate advantage. I know John had to take a little bit more gas than these two do. But trust me when I say this, I would expect Alfred Denny and Nathan Estep at minimum in that pack to hit pit road at the same time. I would assume everyone else in that front pack would follow. But those two for sure, I promise you, are going to come in at the exact same lap.
And again, as I said earlier, they clearly know more than I do. They know more of the fuel numbers. They know more of the flow of the race. So clearly, they're trying, something that they think is going to work. I just said from my perspective, I'm not sure about the call, but like I said, it probably will work out for them one way or another.
That'll be interesting. And question, I mean, with how strung out we are with, 15 laps to go, we might not even see a caution to finish this race. So at that point, it really throws all this strategy in for quite the whirlwind and trying to figure out what's going to happen. Your next set of drivers that are good to make it to the end are Trey and Barack Whitehead with Robert Lawrence and previously mentioned DJ Daniel. Chris Wheeler's found his way with this group, as is Kyle Spees. So you got about 6 drivers here in this pack that, depending on how this cycles out, they could be your leaders.
Yeah, and if you're running in that front pack right now, you have to be on the mentality of when you do come in for that splash and go, you have to be as quick as possible, and you cannot make a mistake.
This has really actually thrown a loop for it, because I figured, to be honest with you, that second pack that's already pit was going to be making up a ton of time, but it seems like this lead pack has caused some lap cars, so they're getting a ton more draft pull, and in turn, as we almost had a wreck right there, but in turn, it allows that lead pack to kind of extend their gap a little bit, and maybe eliminate some of that time that they lost from pitting late, and this might work out better than I expected it.
Well, and for Nathan Eastep, this works out because now he's got cars in front of him. You see, he's pretty backed off from the car in front of him, so he is probably about 50% throttle this entire time right through there, trying to save as much fuel as possible. Now that he's got somebody in front of him.
As little time as you can spend on pit road, the better. And if you can save even a half a second on pit road, that's gonna mean a lot, I believe, here, coming to the end. So, like I said, this might work out better than I expected it.
And now it's no longer a game of making moves at some point. It's also just kind of, you got to see what's going to happen. I mean, you got to see where is this going to cycle out. But at this point in time that this second group here, they've got enough to make it. So it's going to be who from this group makes the move. And I got to believe it's going to be DJ Daniel because I, for a moment, doubted him in the first duel race. And it was after turn 4 that he pulled out from the line, side drafted as much as he possibly can on Trey Whitehead, and just barely beat him to the line by 4/1000ths of a second. So we know that you got to make the move by turn 4. It's going to be very hard not to.
I think it's an interesting dynamic that you've seen in DJ Daniel and how this race has gone. He obviously starts on the pole, qualifies first, wins his duel, starts on the pole, and hasn't really run up front at all this race. And now, depending on how all of this cycles through, he's looking like he could potentially inherit the 4th place position if something happens to that lead pack when they come in for that splash and go.
Your leaders are coming in for it right now, actually.
Oh, here we are. Here comes. Oh, gotta make sure nobody's speeding. We saw a couple tires locking up, but I think we're overall good. And also, did you set your pit stop correctly? It looks like the 38 is going to be able to back off. No contact with nobody here. Mark Gonzalez stayed out on track, as has Jonathan Leach and James Jones. So they may be hoping for a caution here as we got 10 laps to go. All right, so here they come off pit lane. Oh, yeah, look at the run that Trey and this group has. They're going to blow right past Nate and Al. Yeah, this is going to be Nate, Al, looks like Matthew. They're going to need a caution if they want to make it back into this one.
Yeah, I think they just lost too much time at the front end of that. As I mentioned, they were starting to gain some of it back, but they just weren't getting enough of it back. But I still love, the gamble. I love that they kind of just did something different to try and win the race, and it's not quite going to work out. Obviously a caution could change that, but as it looks, it's not quite going to work out, but they're still going to get good points. And like I mentioned, they took a gamble, and you sometimes got to take a gamble to try and win a race.
Well, you're not wrong. Look at it. The guys who are leading the race right now have been leading the race kind of most of the time, and you can't just follow the leader and expect for it to work. You got to do something different.
Absolutely.
And you are right. They spent, some of these guys, almost 3 seconds less in their pit box than the leaders right now. So they definitely were able to use that to their advantage, but I think just the overall, you're right, the speed that this group was able to carry from the very beginning, it's been 6 cars the entire time, and they've just been nose to tail without question. I think that's really benefited from the teamwork that these guys have so far working together.
Watching these two Whiteheads at the front of the field all night, it's just incredible seeing how effortless their chemistry is. And now you add, the 34 and, DJ, Daniel behind them, and they've just been a freight train since they came off pit road. So it's no surprise that they're putting themselves in that prime position. Obviously pending that anything significant happen from here to the end of the race to be right at the front.
Yeah, what's interesting to me, of course, the front two are indeed teammates. Robert Lawrence is not teammates with those guys. However, DJ Daniel right behind him is his teammate. So we got you got to feel comfortable. You think when Trey, and as you see James Jones and Jonathan Leach finally decide to come down pit lane here, you want to feel comfortable because you got a teammate behind you, but then the 2 guys behind him are also teammates.
That goes back to what I mentioned earlier in the race. You know, you got to find friends, right? You got to place yourself with your friends, and get as many of them as possible. And that's pretty much the name of the game here at Daytona and Talladega, is just kind of setting yourself up right and seeing how it goes.
As a matter of fact, it's not just Robert Lawrence and DJ Daniel. Chris Wheeler, who's been very quiet today, is also teammates with DJ and Robert. The three of them running for Blue Motorsports. And then, of course, Trey and Barack, they are part of, let me make sure I say it correctly, Sizemore Motorsports. So, this is, you got 3 cars behind you that are teammates, and really Kyle Speeds behind them is going to make the difference as to what happens. And
if you're good. If they time this right, this is going to work out in their favor. For Wheeler, Daniel, and Lawrence, this is going to work perfectly for them if they time it right. Getting Kyle Speeds out of here. You don't want him to help them, the 2 Whitehead brothers up there at all. You want them to get out of there and make it a 3v2 battle. So I believe they're really going to think about it these next 5 laps to time this move. So Kyle Speeds doesn't have a chance to help those 2 brothers out front, and they can time it and get a 1-2-3 here potentially.
So, and then Scott, were you in Hammered Down for the ARCA League, the first race at Daytona? I don't remember.
I was.
Okay, so what I ended up doing when I was working with Al and Nate, if I'm not mistaken, or was it you and Nate? I think it was Al and Nate. Where the 3 of us were up front, I was behind the 2 of them, and I knew that the group behind me was teammates, and I saw them slowly backing off, so I backed off with them to try to stun their run. And while I didn't get to come in 3rd place, it did guarantee Nate and Al would finish 1-2. So is that something that you think that maybe Brock can pull off and help out his brother Trey win the race?
Yeah, I think at this point, if you're the Whitehead brothers up front, Trey and Brock, I think you're just thinking about what you can do to protect your best possible position. So at worst case scenario, assuming that there's no wreck, you're looking at like a 5th and 6th place. But obviously that's not the goal. The goal here is to bring that 1-2 finish. So at this point, what I'm hoping, if I'm one of those two brothers, is you need to put the internal selfishness of wanting to pull out coming to turn 4 and beat your brother to the line and say, okay, the bigger picture here is we need to make sure that those 4 behind us don't freight train past us on the outside. And it's not always easy to set that aside and be selfless and accept that maybe sitting in 2nd place is where you need to be. But from a bigger scheme, from a team perspective, that might be the route that they need to go.
All right, well, we do have 4 laps to go. I mean, it's almost hard to believe this race has just flown by here. We're getting ready to come down to 3 laps to go, and we got we're going to say it's going to be a 6-car battle. Nathan Estep, Alfred Denny, they're about 7 1/4 seconds back. So really, this is going to be the battle for the lead and the battle for the win, assuming we don't get a caution here in the final 3 laps. But of course, it is Daytona, so you cannot assume that we won't. And you don't know, because the caution could come from right here in this first group as they try to battle for a win for the Daytona 250. And
At this
sorry, no, go ahead, because mine's a different topic.
At this point in time, as you see these leaders going down the backstretch, getting ready to come to the 2 to go. If you're in that front pack, primarily the 2 Whiteheads, you're just hoping you can make it around another 2.5 miles and get to that white flag before something happens. And you certainly are hoping that it doesn't happen in that front pack. As you mentioned, if you're in that 2nd pack, in that Nathan Estep, Alfred Denny pack, that's all you're hoping for at this point, is that you get to see that yellow flag come out before you come around one more time.
All right, they're currently diving low on David Modespa, who is a few laps down, currently in the 29th position. He did start this race from 39th, so he has gained healthy 10 spots. But right now it is Trey Whitehead. Oops, sorry about that, everybody. Trey Whitehead is in first. We're coming down, about to be the white flag. You see DJ Daniel all over the back bumper of Robert Lawrence. I think maybe they're testing something out there, seeing what they could do in the backstretch. But it is about to be go time for Blue Motorsports. Can they pull it off against Sizemore? Does Sizemore hold them off? We'll have to see. We've got one lap to go here in the Ghost Cup Series presented by the Fort Worth Screen Printing Company. Here it is. You see the 34 starting to back off ever so slightly.
As long as they time this right, they can do it. The two brothers out front just don't have enough firepower with only being 2 cars to really block this.
Yeah, they couldn't block it, but here it is. Here comes Robert Lawrence on the outside. Big help from DJ Daniel. Can Whitehead pull the block? He's going to go up, and there's nothing he can do. Kyle Spees is going to go low. We're going to have a 3-way battle. I think this is going to be an intense one to finish this race. Where Robert Lawrence is your leader. Can Brock Whitehead get to the bumper of his teammate? No, he can't quite get there. They're coming off turn 4. DJ Daniel looks low on his teammate. What are we going to do to finish this race? And
Daniel's going to beat him to the
Daniel's going to beat him to the line. Oh, my goodness.
What a flawless, absolutely flawless last lap from DJ Daniel. Absolutely flawless.
I don't mean to say that I called it that was going to happen, but he did it again.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Just timing your run perfectly and just getting him at the line. You cannot write it better than that.
Look at this right here. To think that this is not even the closest finish he's had in the last week here. Wow. I mean, fantastic finish there for DJ Daniel. Unreal. That was a fantastic job.
I'm extremely impressed, man. I gotta say, I'm very, very impressed. That was, again, like I said, a extremely flawless last lap. Timed that push perfectly, hooked up with his teammate perfectly. Did not make a mistake on the push. Hit him square, locked bumpers with him, and then made the move off turn 4 abruptly and quickly so he could get to his inside and drag race to the line.
Man, that's yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. I refuse to be surprised by DJ Daniel after last week when I called it on the broadcast. Like, I guess DJ for once isn't going to do anything. And he immediately proved me wrong. So, here is Trey Whitehead currently. We're going to go ahead and bring him on in. Let's see if he is ready. We're going to go ahead and give an interview here to our 3rd place finisher and the man who really led a good portion of this race. Trey Whitehead, this is Angel, Zack, and Scott here in the esports broadcasting booth. You got us?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Oh, I hear the disappointment in your voice, man, and it's heart-wrenching for me. I saw what was happening. Those 3 teammates lined up behind you. I mean, was there anything else you guys could have done?
No, we tried dragging the brake. They were backing up, testing it on lap 98, and I guess they got formed up and took everybody with them. I didn't expect the whole line to go with them, and they did, but, not really anything I could do. I went up to try to block Robert and figured that might stall their run out and then go back down and have my brother help me out a little more, but they just had the momentum. I don't think there was really much else I could do, so it was a good win for DJ. Glad I was able to lead a lot of laps and get a lot of TV time for my sponsor, but yeah, it's still disappointing, so.
You did get a ton of TV time for your sponsor there. I must say though, congratulations! It really was a good job overall for you and your brother. I know making Charlie proud, watching, and so you did get to lead though a ton of laps. A good points day overall, and you still get to come home with a 3rd place finish. What's the plan here if you go into next week? Do you think, I got a top 3, let's go ahead and just keep rattling these offs, or is it just win any chance you get?
Yeah, it was, obviously win was on the mind tonight, but next week at Atlanta, that's a pretty good track for me, and we'll try to figure that place out. Hopefully we can keep up the good teamwork. That was pretty good between me and, like you said, Brock was helping me out quite a bit. Yeah, we're going to go into every race with the mindset to win, but obviously a top 3 is not the worst you could do. So just, glad to be able to get 3rd place, but, we really wanted that win. So we'll have that mindset every week.
Well, I can't blame you there at all, Trey. I'm sure you got a couple people you'd like to thank before we let you go and at least celebrate a podium finish.
Yeah, for sure. We'll start off with my sponsor, the Shirt Garage. You can check them over out on Facebook. Just search up the Shirt Garage. They're located in Kentucky. They do a bunch of apparel and custom stuff like that. So be sure to check them out. Excuse me. And Ryan, obviously the team owner over here at Sizemore Motorsports. He was in, watching the broadcast, cheering us on and stuff like that. And obviously, I'd like to thank my teammate Brock, my brother. Did a really good job of just kind of staying behind me. Like I said, there was really nothing we could do with that last part, but he stuck behind me for most of the race. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for broadcasting the race. I can't wait to go back and watch it.
It truly was a pleasure, Trey. I appreciate it. Before I do let you go, Zach, Scott, you got anything for him?
Yeah, actually, I just one question I had for you was, what are the positives you can take away from this race? Obviously, it's not the result you wanted, leading a lot of this race like you did. But what are some of the positives you can take away from this, and something you can apply to a race in the future?
Yeah, so even though the one big negative was obviously me not winning the race, there was a ton of positives. A lot of laps led. I gained the confidence of being able to run up front and stay up front, and I now have confidence in my strategy. I was the one calling the main shots with teaming up with us and Blue Motorsports with DJ and Robert and all them on that last pit stop, figuring out what lap to come down, and it turned out to be the money lap, put all of us in the spot to win the race. So definitely confidence in, like I said, my strategy and leading the race and showing that, this season, usually I get wrecked out of races like this, but me coming out P3 with a lot of speed, leading a lot of laps, that's a lot of confidence going into the next week. So,
well, I gotta say, very impressive performance, and hopefully that confidence proves to be good for you, and you can move on and keep racking up those podium finishes.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll probably just reminisce on this tonight, and tomorrow we'll forget about it and try to focus on winning Atlanta. So appreciate you guys.
All right, thank you, Trey. That was your third place finisher, Trey Whitehead. I mean, you can hear the disappointment in his voice and not getting that win, and it just goes to show, man. Everybody out here, everybody just wants to win, and it hurts not to. So, but nonetheless, congratulations to Trey Whitehead. We're gonna go ahead and bring in our second place finisher now, Robert Lawrence from Casson, Minnesota. And Scott, as soon as I bring him in, I will let you have this one. Robert, this is pull you in here. This is Angel, Scott, and Zack here in the ESBN broadcast booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
All right, Robert, Scott up in the booth here. First off, congratulations on the second place finish. What a run you and your teammate DJ Danny were able to pull off at the end. Kind of walk us through what you guys were looking at as you came to that white flag, realizing that it was time to make that move.
Yeah, coming to the white flag, I knew I had to start backing off, try to get a little bit of air gap behind them, so I had at least a little bit of run off it too. It was about half throttle, three-quarter throttle. They saw it, and I saw Brock starting trying to back up to me, but by that time it was too late. I had already started to develop that run. DJ and I had communicated to get lined up, and as soon as I got started coming off a two, we just let her rip, and he pushed me like I wish I could push everyone else. Although everyone does seem to try to come to me for pushing, but I'm glad he pushed me up there. And I knew he was going to do something coming to the tri-oval, and out instead of potentially wrecking us, I'm like, all right, fine. He got to my inside and just let him have it.
Yeah, as far as the second place finish goes, obviously it has to be a little disheartening, to get passed by your teammate at the end. But like you said, you have to know that's coming. What is kind of the dynamic as a team moving forward as you guys head to Atlanta next week? Is this obviously a big confidence booster, or is this something that you guys just kind of knew you were going to be in that position, and you're just going to kind of ride that high moving forward?
Kind of both. I mean, even in our practices, we just gelled well. We all mixed well. We did everything, I guess, the right way. And coming into it, we knew we had to work together at some point. We were discussing whether we had to, get the high line moving at all. But we just ended up, the cautions came out just about the right times, and to the point that we never really had to make that decision. So we just ended up playing the strategy role, getting with Sizemore Motorsports, get that going, and yeah. But it's a confidence booster and also momentum going into next week. Yeah, we're gonna get our practice down, try to figure out what we got to do for next week, and see if we can't repeat.
All right, just one last question I have for you before I turn it over to these other two, and if they have any questions for you. Was there any kind of question marks coming into this race for you guys as a team or you as an individual with this new scan of Daytona kind of coming out so fresh? Was that anything that you guys were concerned about, or did you kind of just know what to expect either way?
Yeah, it's actually the first time I've been on the scan, to be honest, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was actually happy to see that they added in that tar seam line up towards the top. At least help the people that can't seem to hold a high line up there, kind of follow something. But no, I wasn't too nervous about it. I figured it'd feel about the same, and it did. There wasn't anything real different about it. If anything, I noticed right on the apron there was maybe it bit a little bit more, but it wasn't anything severe. But I was actually pleasantly surprised. The fence is cool, and just happy to see some of them things.
All right.
Absolutely.
Robert.
Angel, Zach, anything from you two?
I'm good. Zach?
I'm good. I just wanted to say congratulations on your second place finish. Really good last lap from both you and DJ. To get up front and put yourselves in position to win. Just really impressed with that whole last lap from you guys, and congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Robert. Well, before we turn you loose, I'm sure there's some people you want to thank.
Well, I got to thank Sergeant Grit for being on the car. I got to thank them. I got to thank Ghost for putting this league together. Got to thank you guys for dealing with this utter chaos. I hope it was at least somewhat fun to watch. And also got to thank Pet Safe and everyone else that's on the car. I'm just glad to be a part of the league. It's my first race with the new league, so it's interesting and fun.
All right, Robert, we appreciate it. Congratulations once again on your second place finish. We'll go ahead and let you go celebrate what is a podium and a great start to your season. And now we're going to go ahead and bring in your winner. Zach, I want to hand off our winner, DJ, to you. I'm sure you got some interesting things to ask him here. So, DJ, this is Angel, Scott, and Zach here in the ESBN broadcast booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
DJ, just walk me through that last lap. I for one was extremely impressed with the whole sequence you guys put together, but specifically, what you did with that excellent push down the back straightaway, and then the really impressive move coming off turn 4 to win that race. So just kind of walk me through that and what your thought process was.
I thought I was out of this race 20 laps in. We were just having an absolutely terrible race, and then somehow had a monster pit stop and got us to 4th. And then after that, I seen Robert in front of me, my teammate, and I just told him, when he's ready, back up to me, just tap the brake and let me get locked on, and it's game on. And I pushed him up front, and I was coming out of 4, and I looked down, and my wattage was flashing at me. I was about to blow up, so I was like, I got to do something, or I'm going to blow up on the front stretch. So I don't know, just enough.
That's because you're driving a Ford. That's why I made it through all the way.
Yeah, man. I was just gonna say, I'm like I said, I said it right after that whole move finished, or right after the race was finished. Excuse me. How impressed I was with that move. It's very cool to see guys work the draft like that, and you guys did it flawlessly. So congratulations on your win. If these guys have any other questions for you, I'm not very experienced at this stuff, so I don't have more than one question. So if these guys have anything for you, then I'll hand it off to them.
Scott, I'll let you go ahead first if you got one.
Yeah, DJ. First off, congratulations. I'm actually going to ask you the same question I asked your teammate. Were there any hesitancies, either as a team or in your own mind, about this new scan coming into today, maybe having little to no experience on it? Or was it just like the same old Daytona, same old business?
I noticed the cars are a whole lot slower, and it's a whole lot harder to get a run. You have to back up really far and have a good pusher behind of you. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't have much practice going into this on the new Daytona. I had maybe like 20 laps, but from what I noticed, it's just slower.
All right, DJ. Well, buddy, I guess I'm not surprised. I said it this time around. I'm not letting you fool me, and I guess you got a good excuse if you were about to blow up. But I do. It not really any questions. Aside from you're locked into the playoffs now, if I'm not mistaken. So here now you can just go win races and maybe help your teammates win races. How much of a relief is this now to know that you've got the first win already in the bag?
I can go for it. Essentially, know how to win races, know how to get it done. So it's all out from here on.
All right, DJ. Well, congratulations. Fantastic job. I'll go ahead and let you thank your sponsors and anybody else before we let you celebrate this victory.
Fun fact, when you left, when SRN stopped broadcasting these races I'm in, I wasn't winning anything. You come back and I'm like 4 for 4.
Okay, there we go. I don't think anybody else is going to be happy with that, but I guess at least you can.
I can't thank Brockton enough, my spotter, for just coaching me, keeping me calm through this whole race, and just keeping me in it, keeping me locked in. I can't thank BMS enough for the opportunity, all my teammates, and yeah, Rocco Sign Shop. Give me 1 second.
I think you got a photography company on your hood today, right?
Yes, sir. I think it's Leanne's photography.
Lana Litora. If I
I
said
don't
that
know.
wrong, Noah,
I
I'm
don't know
sorry.
how to
But
say it.
Noah put it in the chat, so just in case. And Brockton said, let's go, DJ. So, yeah, congratulations, DJ. Cap it off with a victory. So, good luck next week. We'll see you at Atlanta.
Yep. And thank you, Novak, for your comments. It really means a lot.
Of course, man. Good job tonight, man.
Thank you.
All right. Well, what a finish. Fantastic job. We're going to go ahead and run. Well, we already mentioned we're going to be at Atlanta next week. We're going to go ahead and run through the final order here very briefly. Let's pull this on up. Come on. All righty. So DJ Daniel, as we just finished speaking with, it was your winner. Teammate Robert Lawrence in second. Trey Whitehead in third. Barack Whitehead is in fourth. Kyle Speeswood finished fifth. Chris Wheeler in sixth. Nathan Eastep in seventh. Alfred Denny in eighth. Matthew Scott, how'd you say that last name? Gusty?
Gusty.
So. Yeah, I'm sorry. Matthew, we'll figure that one out afterwards. Kyle Gardner is in 10th. Chris Reese in 11th. Vernon Reese in 12th. Zach Woods in 13th. Dylan McDonald in 14th. John Garrett in 15th. Joe David 16th. Daniel Miglin in 17th. Ron Gardner is 18th. Sorry about that. We have Jeffrey Vickery 19th. Nicholas Panico in 20th. Go ahead and Scott with the next 10.
All right, TJ Roberts coming in 21st, Patrick McQuaid in 22nd, Mike Sobanoski in 23rd, Christian Roos in 24th, 25th goes to James Jones, Mark Gonzalez in 26th, Jonathan Leach in 27th, Ricky Gonzalez in 28th, Travis Noble 29th, and Cole Martin rounds out the top 30. David Modespa in 31st, Wally Babb 32nd, 33rd belongs to Wes Fuller, Anthony Zirkle in 34th, Kevin Gibney Jr. in the 35th position, Michael Koravu in 36th, Nick Biddy 37th, Chris Hubka 38th, Billy Rickett 39th, Cliff Corvu Jr. in 40th, and Brock Salvati rounding out the field in 41st.
Well, before we let you go here, Zach, again, we really appreciate you coming on board with us today. It was an absolute pleasure to get to speak with you, get some of your insight in for today's race. You got any more final comments before we head out of here?
Yeah, man, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. I know I'm not very great at this stuff, but it's always cool to, venture out and try new things, and just really, really happy with the race we saw tonight. Really clean for the most part, and really good finish. So overall, just fun time to work with you guys, and fun time to watch this race, and hopefully I can improve on this stuff a little bit in my commentating skills, and definitely would be interested in doing some in the future. So just thank you guys once again, and thanks to Chris and everybody in the league for welcoming me with open arms, and I had a blast.
Well, I thank you very much, Zach. This was Angel Santiago, Scott Poznansky, and Zack Novak from the Esports Broadcasting Network, a sim racing media company. We were live today from the beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida for the Daytona 250, the Ghost Cup Series inaugural season, presented by Fort Worth Screen Printing Company. I appreciate everybody coming out today. Be sure, if you haven't already, to like, share, subscribe, whatever you got to do on our Facebook or YouTube. That way you can keep up with us here on SRM or ESBN. We have a ton of races, a ton of leagues going on throughout the week. If I'm not mistaken, on Tuesday nights we're running triple headers, so we got plenty of racing going on throughout the week for you to enjoy. All different types, from trucks, ARCAs, cup cars, next gens. I believe we've got an F1 league starting up here soon. Everything you can think of, we've got it here. Dirt as well. Be sure to check us out. Thank you all for coming out to watch with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time as always here on Wednesday nights. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your week.